It's a lovely day out. I don't know if you can hear that or not. You hear the rain hitting the roof. We've got rain that's supposed to be changing over to a wintry mix. It's cold and nasty out. Fortunately, I've got some things to do inside. But this episode, I'm labeling mistakes were made. Because mistakes were made. And it'd be real easy, since I'm doing this, to edit out any mistakes or not show you any mistakes. But sometimes we learn some things from mistakes, and maybe you can learn from my mistakes. I'll show you one of the things that I have done here over the weekend. Since the last video, I think it was on Friday, I did this, the tile that's going to be behind my wood stove. Now this is a piece that I bought the decorative tiles, believe it or not, off eBay. I've got a little film to wash off of them. And then the white tiles I bought from Menards, and then you go down to the bottom here. And this is what we're going to have behind the wood stove. And of course, then there's piece of OSB and the cement board, and then the tile, and I'll get some bullnose tiles to cover here. And then there's another piece of OSB and cement board behind this metal shield, and then the metal shield to reflect heat away, and then the ceramic spacers here. So there's a 1-inch gap between this front and the back. And you can see one of the mistakes I made was this is a little too short. So what I'm going to have to do is get me a thin strip of cement board and the OSB, and I'll have to fasten here to back these tiles up so that my grout will stay in. But it went together pretty well, and I like it. It's really pretty, and it really looks nice against this against the tongue and groove. And I'll be going on Wednesday to pick up some more tongue and groove so I can finish this wall here, and then above the windows. Now we go into the bathroom, and I'll try not to flare you out, where 3 mistakes were made. The first is, you see I've got part of this wall out. Well, that's because when I put these walls in, and you can see this one here, see how small the gap is here and how it flares out? Well, that's because when I cut that piece there and that piece right there, these were the last 2 pieces. That was the last piece for the day, and that was the next to the last piece. And what I did is I was trimming my angle, and you can see here that is buttoned right up against the rafter. And this one right here is jammed right up against the rafter. I know better, but it was the end of the day, and I was in a hurry to get done and all excited about getting done. I didn't pay enough attention. Now this wood was put in the same as over here. This was at the end of the day. And what I did is, my top piece that I cut to fit in here, I didn't leave a gap. I should have left probably at least 1/8, but preferably 1/4 inch of gap, because when I put this wood in, it was probably just over 40 degrees out. And then we had a bunch of 60-degree weather come in mid-60s, and so it all expanded, just like wood does. Contracts when it's cold, expands when it's warmer. And when it did, there was no place for it to go up there, so it bowed out. And this wall right here, you can see that snug up. There was a gap about like this right in here. And the piece at the top was laid over at an angle like that because it was gapped out so much, because I did not allow room for expansion. So that was mistakes that I made here that caused that issue. And then what I'm going to be doing today is I'll pull out that piece at the top, and I'll pull out that piece at the top, and then I'll have to pull these pieces off, get the nails out, and I'll have to come down to about right here where my gap starts and just reassemble it, put it back together. And before I put these top pieces in, I'll trim about 1/4 inch off of them to leave room for expansion so that I don't repeat this problem. And the other thing that I've got going, you see some cement board pulled out here. I had put my cement board all the way down close to the floor. I left about 1/8 of an inch before the floor. And I've got this an OT PVC shower pan liner. I'll show you right here. And this is, it's a solid PVC sheet, and this is 5x6, and it has 2 corner dams that they call. And you can see from the picture here how it's supposed to be put in. You put your drain in, you build a cement bed up, you put the liner in, and it's supposed to go behind your cement board and then over your dam, and then some more cement board. So by me not putting the cement board all the way down, it's supposed to go behind and not on top of your cement board. So I had to take all that, the bottom layer of cement board inside the shower area out and put in a dam, and then put in some 2x6s, put a 1x6 here where the plumbing is, for that shower pan liner to fasten to. And it comes up about 5 inches off the floor. And before I put that in, I'll have to get me some what they call bedding mud, or mud bed, which is basically a sand and mortar mix that you mix up kind of dry, and you put in, and put a layer here with a little slope towards the drain. And then I put my PVC liner in that, and it's got it'll have a bead of silicone that holds it to the drain, and then another bed of mortar on top of that before I put my tile on, because you don't put it directly on this flooring. So I didn't do that, so I had to take that cement board off and put my bracing behind to do it the way the manufacturer says to. And then this is the dam. This is 2x4, but by the time I put in the mortar, you'll have about an inch and a half lip, and that's just in case the shower drain gets clogged. You can hold that water instead of it running out into the rest of the bathroom. So like I said, mistakes were made. They aren't mistakes I can't recover from, but I just thought I'd share those with you so you can see, I'm not trying to hide any problems that I might have. But sometimes you make those mistakes, and fortunately they're things I can recover from and do the right way. And again, it's really important. Most of the stuff I'm doing the first time, so I have to do some research on it and watch some YouTube videos, and the ones that I prefer to watch aren't the DIYers. And here you are watching me. But there's a lot of good information out there from professional tile people, from professional contractors, that this is the way they do it, and in order not to have failures, this is the way the manufacturer says to do it. And even one of the videos that I watched was from OT, the manufacturer. And a lot of these manufacturers of these items that you're going to buy, they will have either written instructions on their website, and usually nowadays most of them have videos on their website that are actually out there. You can either watch them on their website or you can watch them through YouTube, so that you can see this is what the manufacturer says you need to do with their product in order for it to work as designed. And I found that that's the best way to do it, because then if there is an issue, why, you installed it the way they said to install it, so they can't come back and say, well, you did it wrong. And also, there's a reason why they say to do it this way. That's how the product was designed. So that's the best way to do it. So let me get my nail gun out, and I'll see if I can set this up, and I'll fix those walls that I made a mistake on. I'm not going to be able to do the mud bed and the tape and mudding on my cement board in the shower until Wednesday, because we got this winter storm moving in. It's going to be cold during the day, and it's going to be down below freezing at night, and it's below the recommended temperature range. In fact, if I were to try to use that PVC right now, with it being cold, it's so stiff that it's going to be hard to get it to lay good and flat. So I'll wait until it warms up on Wednesday, Thursday, later this week, to deal with that. That way it'll be within the temperature range that the manufacturer says to use it. So anyways, mistakes were made. I'm correcting some mistakes. So off we go. I started this process on Saturday. There we go. But wasn't able to finish up because I had run out of finish nails. Now I had finish nails, but the problem was, and I bought some more finish nails. I'm using, 1.25 inch ones, and I bought some more finish nails, but I made another mistake, and I did not pay attention to the fact that there are multiple styles of finish nails. And so I bought a style called FN style. And I'll be honest, the reason why I bought the FN style is they were a little cheaper. They were grip fast. Well, but my nailer, I hate the way they put these packages together. My nailer, it's a Hitachi Metabo, which is a Hitachi, and it uses DA style nails. And the ones that I bought were FN style nails, and the difference in them is the angle. The DA has more of an angle, and the FN, the angle on them isn't as acute, so they won't feed. And the first couple that I tried to feed, it was jamming up. Oh, what is wrong with my gun? And I pulled it back and I realized, wait a minute, the angle is wrong. I bought the wrong kind of nails. So it was either go to the store and buy more nails on Saturday, or wait and there you go. Wait and go after church Sunday, which is what I did, and so now I can get started today. And whenever I'm putting this in, I always keep my hammer and a block of wood on, because with this being a natural product, every once in a while I don't get a nail all the way in. With this being a natural product, some of them are perfectly straight and some of them aren't. And sometimes they don't want to go together very well. And so you just use a little persuader. And if I've got a nail that doesn't go in all the way, instead of hammering like that, you can, and the wood on wood works better than hammer on hammer, because I don't know about you, but I'm not always 100% accurate. So And when I took these off, what I did is let's see if I can do this without pulling my tripod down. When I pulled these off, I stacked them up in reverse order how they came down, so I can put them back up and get them back in place. Okay. Sometimes you wish you had 3 hands, you know. Okay. And then and you might say, well, why in the world are you doing that? Well, that's because I've got a joint right here, and the 2 pieces weren't wanting to line up real well. And this helps me get it lined up with the rest of them too. And just, I really should put my safety glasses on. Because every once in a while, the air gun will kick back some dust, or a piece will come off, or it could even, the nail go in crooked and it want to kick back at you. So it's always best to wear your safety glasses when you're doing these. Sometimes I can get it to go down by hand, and sometimes I have to bang on it a little. That's amazing, isn't it? That's a piece of that a blue stain. Some of it's got just little streaks, and some of it is actually totally blue. Oh, mercy. Well, I messed that one up. I said, sometimes mistakes are made. And when I was in industry, we doing a project, installing a line or making modifications, and it seems like no matter how well you plan, there's always something goes wrong. And you're never gonna as hard as you try, you're never going to get the perfect project, the perfect install. And management likes to judge you on nothing going wrong instead of taking a look at how you took care of issues that came up along the way. But how you handle difficulties has a lot to do with your success, both on a professional and a personal level, Alright. I have a terrible way of getting things in my way. And in here I'm having to fit it in behind the next wall as well, the adjoining wall. This wall here, it's fine, but there's a good 1/4-inch gap between the top piece of the wood there we go. There's a good 1/4-inch gap between the top of the wood and the rafter, so there was room for it to expand, so I didn't have a problem. Oops. Sometimes it's hard to see where you're shooting these nails. I sometimes wish I got a finished nail that had a little bit smaller footprint on the foot. And tongue and groove really it's beautiful, and it's really easy to put in. You just set it in place. And the beauty about like the short wall like this is I was able to use some pieces that otherwise wouldn't. And then I tried to not have pieces with joints next to each other. So here's a joint, here's a solid piece, here's a joint, solid piece, a joint. Just to make it more visually appealing. Okay. And what did I do here? Oh, I see what I did here. I've got a nail that I'm going to have to figure out how to get out. I shot a little too high on one of my nails, and so it's interfering putting the tongue and groove in. Yeah, I got one of my nails in a little too high, and it went through the tongue, and so the nail was interfering with the next board going down all the way. I just ripped my microphone off. I've got one that's not in quite all the way. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And believe it or not, I'm almost done with this side. last piece. I'm going to have to climb up one more step. Yep. It's one thing I hate about hats sometimes. They stick up and you hit the hat. Alright, this one only gets a couple nails in it. Oops, I totally missed on that one. I'm going to pull that nail out. I should have stayed up one higher. Come on now. There we go. That's better. Now, what I got to do on this last piece is I got to go fix the problem I had. Now, I don't know, you probably can't see that, but this is actually indented in because it was so tight. In fact, it won't even fit in there at all right now because this wood has expanded on me because of temperature and humidity. And so I'm going to have to cut some off of this. Now, I know it's straight, but this part here will actually be above the insulation, so I'll be cutting that off as well. But I'm going to have to cut a part of this off in order to get it to fit in there and leave my gap. So what I'm going to do to figure out how much gap I need, I'm going to put it up here and then gap down, and then I will mark that on the back side with my pencil, if I can dig it out of my pocket to me. And so now I know I can measure up there and say, okay, that's how much I need to cut off. But I won't cut it off on the groove side, I'll cut it off on the flat side. And that way I know how much to cut off so I can get it to fit. Inch off of that, and now you can see there's a nice gap there. Now you'll never see that because the ceiling, the roofing that's going up will cover that. But that way, temperature changes again. I've got some room for that for that wood to expand if it needs to, and it won't repeat the same problem. All right, got one mistake fixed. Now I got to move over to the other side and take that wall apart and fix my mistake on it. All right, there you go. That's the corner that I had to work on. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than it was before. You don't see that big gap that there was in there. They were, some of them sticking out that far away from the 2x4. And then at the top, I've also got, I cut the board so there's a gap there, a good 1/4 inch. Same thing up there. There's a good 1/4 inch gap, and then the same thing on this wall right here. I've got it done as well, and it's now nice and straight and got room to move. Boy, I think I'm gonna hang those lights take me a clamp and some rope or a chain or something and hang those lights from a floor joist or from a rafter when I'm using them, because, man, they're on a stand right now, and it comes up to about here on me, so every time I turn around, the lights are right in my eyes. So, at any rate, got those mistakes fixed. I'll look for more mistakes to fix. I'm sure there'll be plenty along the way. But you know, my granddaughter, who lives in Texas, texted me yesterday. And she said she had stumbled across my YouTube channel and my blog. And she thought it was really neat. It was a really neat looking place, and it was inspirational, which, boy, that really made me feel good. But there was something in one of my blog articles that I wrote when we were first starting this process out, coming out here and working, and it was about, why are we doing this? Because, I'm 65 now. I was 61 when we started this process. So it's taken a while, and everybody was, oh, you should just hire someone to do it, have someone else build it, you'll get in there quicker. Well, yeah, I could have gotten in there quicker, but one of the things that I was told years ago, it was by one of my NCOICs in the Army, and I don't remember who it was now, but he said, safe is another word for regret. And that always stuck with me, and I included that in the article. Or said, what we're doing it's risky. I'm taking a risk. I'm doing things on my own, and it takes more time. And I said, but safe is another word for regret. What we're doing here, what I'm doing here, what we're doing here is something that I've dreamed about, since I was a teenager. And when we first got married and we were in our 20s and looking at getting out of apartments into a house, we would talk about what we liked in a house and kind of those dreams. And it may seem silly, but if you never have any dreams about something you want to do, then you're just stuck where you are. And if you never, as a couple, talk about some things that you would like to do and dream about doing, then you never you don't get on the same page and have something to work towards. So that's something we have done for all of our marriage, and we still do. And we've been married for 44 years now. Yeah, 44 years. Wow, that's a long time. But, if you, and another thing that I do is, a lot of people, they've got advice to give. Everybody's real quick to offer advice. But here's one thing that I do. I look for advice from people who've done what I'm wanting to do, or been where I want to go, and people who are at a level that I would aspire to be at. Those are the people that I look to for advice, not people who've always played it safe and who haven't done what I'm trying to do, but people who've done it, people who've been successful. That's the people that I look to for advice and for criticism, and and I'll listen to other people, but the ones I really put the stock in are the people who've been where I want to be and done what I want to do, and who are constantly striving, and who have that motto of safe is another word for regret. Because, there's going to come a time, in not too many years from now, when I won't be able to do this kind of stuff, and I won't be sitting there in a house that someone else built, wishing that I had gone ahead and done what I had dreamed about all my life. Because I've done it, and I'm doing it. And it's kind of exciting. It's pretty neat. And I hope you guys catch a little bit of that too. And if there's something that you've thought about doing or you've dreamed about doing, but you've always played it safe, be willing to take a little risk. Yeah, you may mess up. You may make mistakes along the way that you got to fix, but you can fix them. but you won't have regret. And you can sit back and think, I did what I dreamed about doing. And that's a pretty cool thing. All right, this is Bob at Serenity Hill. Thanks for stopping by. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. But we really appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos and support us in what we're doing, and hope you get a little inspiration from it and get out there and do something yourself. We'll talk to you on the next one. Bye now.